Alright, this is Dipper versus Manliness. The code for this one, Mr. Caesarian will be out next week. Mr. at Bash will substitute. Do you get that?
No.
No.
You've seen this show before. What are you asking me?
I don't remember that one, if that's a thing. So totally went over my head, that one. So if somebody knows in the comments, go ahead, let us know. Now they're all gonna be that, I'm sure. But anywho,
And we'll find out a month from now.
yes. So this is Dipper versus Manliness. Exactly what it sounds like. Dipper doesn't feel he's manly enough. He fails this this little, as he puts it, man machine. One of those things where you squeeze it and measures your strength. So he finds a Manator. Who
With
takes
the man cave.
Yeah, takes him to the man cave with all the other testosterone and whatever the other ones were.
Pituator.
Yeah,
I like that one. And Beardy.
Yeah, it's Beardy.
It's Beardy.
And they try to turn him into a man, and the final big test is that he has to go destroy Multi-Bear. And he...
The first time I saw Multi-Bear, I was like, oh, fuck, oh, what the fuck is that?
But it's okay.
Barantula!
That's okay, because he listens to Disco Girl. It's fine.
Yeah. What I got against the ABBA?
Baba.
ABBA's not girly, I'm just saying. Actually, I don't like ABBA.
I don't like him at all.
I will admit to listening to Ace of Base back then.
I told someone I was going to review Mamma Mia at some point, and it's like, yeah, I'll get to it. It's like, damn it. It's like, I so don't want to, because I don't like ABBA. But, okay, so he... But they find out they like the same song, and so he feels he doesn't have to kill him. And he pretty much tells them he's not going to do it, and they're like, let's build something and destroy it, you know, just all the really extreme manly stereotypes.
Meanwhile, I like the duality of Mabel trying to fix...
Grunkle's dad, yeah. Make him more accepting.
I keep wanting to say Grumpelstanskin. But, yeah, and that's turning out to be a failure, while it looks like Dipper is succeeding. But then in the end, everything works out. But that was my favorite line. It's like, I know you like fixing things, Lazy Susan, so here's my uncle. He needs some real fix.
Well, I love the...
It's like, wow!
I love the before and after picture, and the before picture actually looks better than the after picture.
The after picture's worse. Yeah. That's a good moral. It's like, yeah, he did do the manly thing by standing up for himself, and...
Yeah.
I'm
trying
Alfred Molina is the...
as Manator, right?
Doug doesn't check the credits, I think, because I keep noticing as I'm watching these big names pop up. And
no, there's some I noticed. There's definitely some I noticed. I did not notice that the guy who does Grunkle Sand is also... Answers is also the creator. That I didn't know. Yeah,
I've never seen this before, and I had to point that out to Doug.
Cause I always thought it was like... The guy sounds like Beetlejuice to me, like the animated Beetlejuice. I just sort of thought maybe it was that guy.
Yeah, that's Alex Hirsch.
But now I know. So... Yeah, you know, it's funny going into this one, I was saying, like, oh, you're in for a treat, this one is so great, I watch it, I was like, it was still good, but it wasn't as great as I remember it for some reason.
This may be the first episode that I'm just like, yeah, that was alright.
No, isn't that funny? Yeah.
I guess the plot was mostly predictable for this show, and it was just like, oh, a bunch of manly stereotypes, and he wants it. It's one of those stories that I feel like I've seen so many times in other cartoons that even though it was funny, it just was not one of those that I was like really extremely interested in. I'm just like, yeah, I've seen this plot line before.
I think it's the fact. I think like some of the jokes I like. There's a few jokes I'm like, wow, is that ingenious? Like I love, you know, the ancient one, the leader coming in, and turns out he's just the offering. That's ingenious.
That was hilarious. There's a couple of really
I love the
funny
fist
jokes.
For nipples were really funny. But yeah, you're right.
I have pecs for abs.
Yeah,
and fists for nipples.
I have like 3 Y chromosomes.
3 Y chromosomes, 6 Adam's apples, something like that. Yeah, no, there were some very funny jokes. It's just the plot overall didn't grip me, even though the jokes were still funny. So, I don't know. I mean, it wasn't a bad episode.
No, but not.
I get the feeling this is going to be a lot like Avatar, where we're going to be like, there's not really bad episodes. It's just the good episodes are so good that the ones that are okay, you're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's honestly, I've yet to see like an actual bad episode where I'm like, that was bad. I wish I didn't see that. They're like all so enjoyable.
If this episode ends up being rock bottom, like I should be so lucky.
Yeah, that's a good rock bottom.
Good. Yeah. So.
But yeah, no. Looking back, I was.
For the record, the TV is over here, which is why I keep like looking. I realize I keep looking or pointing. It's
there's just a picture.
We've got it on pause, so my eye keeps darting over to the TV as we're talking.
Yeah,
about
we should turn that off because I keep looking at that too. Actually, damn, I just realized that like the whole time we're just gonna be talking to the audience like this. It's like, why were we doing that? Well, now
you know what? You should put like a little picture over where the lamp is and like of what we're paused.
My eye still went over there, even as you were saying that.
Well, it's because you got this. It's because you are.
The light hits us better.
Our instinct is to have the camera right in front of us.
Yeah, well, but the light hit us better because we were getting a really harsh shadow.
But it's a really good angle. I love this profile.
It is. Yeah, no, I like it. I think I look very pretty. I mean, manly. So.
But no, I know it was one of those like I watch, and this could be because we're marathoning this. I think this is going to be the last one for the day because like we just did 6 episodes in a row. I think I'm running out of things to say. Like I'm just like, yeah, that was good. I don't know what else to say about this episode. Like,
yeah, I think the whole in order to be like,
I want pancakes. I know that.
Yes,
much.
They did make pancakes.
The cop eating the pancakes with the guy with the radar gun. Woo! Yeah, I'm just like I just sat there. I'm like, shit, I want pancakes.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, we sort of know this moral. In order to be a man, you don't always have to do the manly stereotypes. In order to be a woman, you don't have to do the womanly stereotypes. All this stuff. Sort of see it before, which is not a bad moral, and it led to some nice creativity. But yeah, I think it's maybe a few more jokes. Like if there's about 3 more, like real holy smokes, were those really funny jokes. It probably would have been even stronger. Like, wow, this is up to par with the other ones.
I like the fact, too, that this is one of those shows that in some ways reinforces gender roles and certain stereotypes about boys and girls. But it works because they each have a distinct personality.
Well, I think there's,
I actually find her more interesting half the time than he is. Like, I'm just like, I want to find out how that brain works. It's fascinating.
Well, I think it's something where there's still,
She had me at hamster ball.
Yeah, I mean, there's still, like, whenever any comedian or anyone says, like, all men are this, all women are this, we mean every single man, people, and every single woman is like that. No, we're talking about broad strokes and sort of culture-ish stuff.
Well, and it's funny because in some ways this does use broad strokes, but they made the characters so interesting that it just works.
Yeah, they don't seem insulting. Yeah. They seem very complimentary.
I'm not watching Barbie and Ken here, even though, she's really a girl that, like, almost in a stereotypical way, like in some cartoons, and he's really a boy. Though I guess in this one he's trying to man up and everything, but it because the characters are so well written, it doesn't matter. Like if you write interesting characters, you can make your character almost anything you want.
Yeah, I think there's this, there is going to be a pattern to certain cultures or people or gender, whatever, that majority of the crowd are going to follow, but if you don't, it's not like there's something wrong with you and you're not a real whatever. It's like, no, it's just there is this pattern though that happens, and if you don't follow it, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's fun to make fun of. That's what comedy does. It makes fun of these funny patterns that just keep going and going and going, or if they stop or whatever, or if they continue or if they change, and that's part of the fun. And they don't seem like insulting, or if they do insult, it's always like, hey, we did the other side too. Like, anytime it's like you make fun of, like, something that's really feminine, they make fun of something very masculine. This whole episode is mocking masculinity, and it's funny. It's very enjoyable.
If you give your characters feel real and have a real personality, I don't care all the time about the damn philosophy behind. Like, I've seen some movies with really pro-feminist messages that I thought were fucking insufferable. And I've seen some of the same that were like, I'm like, wow, this movie's incredible. And the difference is how you write the characters. Is it just simply a well-written character? I won't name names on some of these films I've seen, but, and it works the opposite way. There are, like, movies where they'll have, like, really your classic gender stereotype, divisions. And sometimes I'm just like, oh man, this really just sucks. And other times I'm like, no, it really works because the characters are well written. Like, that's what should be the driving force.
Yeah, the character is what leads the identity, not the race, the gender, any of that stuff.
Yeah. So as I said, when it's all said and done, I find her the most interesting. Like,
yeah, no, she's
versus like I think another good example the opposite way was at this stage in the game we just saw Hero 6. I know this will be running later, but you know, on the team they had this girl. She was a nerdy girl, but she was like a girly girl and this and that, and that's all there was to her. There was just like no personality, and that's a case where I'm just like, okay, so you have your pretty and pink type who's just goofy and teehee, but I just didn't find anything really fascinating about it the way the character was written. You know,
well,
the same goes for other shows.
Yeah.
Like,
so yeah, I think I think you nailed it. Where it's like the character leads the identity.
Yeah.
You know, and you know that's where. Even if someone is like a reinforcement of something that, you know, is stereotypical or not stereotypical, if they have a good identity and an understandable and relatable identity, they explain why.
It's what separates things like Miyazaki pro-environmental message movies from like
Ferngully
or Captain Planet
or Avatar.
Yeah, like, you know, it's just there was a concept of like, let's write a good story first. The fact that it happens to be pro-environmental can be a part of it, but you have to have a good story to begin with.
Yeah, no, actually, that was just going to bring up the whole environmental element. Like, you know, it's good to look after the environment. I mean, we're not anti-environment. How are you even anti? It's like, I'm anti-being in this spot. You know, it's like, does Miyazaki really be anti-environment? You know,
but I mean, all of them, Miyazaki, Captain Planet, and Ferngully, technically, to me, they're preaching to the choir. I'm like, I already agree with you.
But I hate Captain Planet. I hate Ferngully. I hate Avatar.
After I watch Captain Planet or Ferngully, I basically want to burn down a rainforest more.
Yeah, just
out of spite.
Yeah, no.
You know, whereas I watch a Miyazaki movie, it's the exact opposite. It was like, hey, he's right.
Yeah, well, I said Avatar. I meant the Blue Pussies, by the way, not the Wonderful Animated Show.
Yeah, I didn't hate that movie as much as you, but I know where you're coming from.
Yeah, so there you go. There's our rant. I think sometimes we talked about the show. But no, actually, we kept it pretty
Shows should spawn discussions about it.
Indeed.
Well, what is it? Okay, it's a good show, but after a while, it's like you run out of things to talk about.
Okay, this one didn't have
episodes?
like a ton.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's so many episodes of this we're going to have to get through, and we're not always going to be like, ooh, let's get into the nitty-gritty of, like, some are just going to be...
I need a break. What do you say we both take some time, go change our clothes, maybe our hair will be a little different, maybe the lighting and positioning of the camera will be different.
Perhaps.
Yes, and we just go from there.
All right, sounds good to me.
Okay. See you next week. I mean, damn it!